Good evening. Good evening to those of you that choosing to join us live and to those that will be watching the video later. I'm Uma Joy. I'm here with Kelly Bonsall as we do our Monday Night Live Creative Musings with Uma Joy and Kelly Bonsall. And yeah, it's just really a pleasure to be here and have this time to share and see what arises from the muse and from the conversation between us. And I'm a little bit in the dark. So, Kelly, I'm going to pass it to you. And I know that you put out a couple of ideas this morning about possibilities for what we might discuss tonight. And so I'm going to say, what are we talking about?
Yeah. So, hello everyone. Welcome and thank you for being here. Uma and I have been talking this month a lot about growth and transformation, and we've been threading that into our Discovery Deck series that we're doing. And whether you've seen any of those or you're just seeing this one single, it's fine either way. But the thought is that we are in this moment of spring and movement, and we're kind of coming out, and I was listening to something today and just really talking about in all the ways that we're starting to, like, movements really starting to happen and growth, and we're like getting out, a lot of us in our communities, in person, sort of really interacting with each other for the first time. And the weather might be warming up a bit. It certainly is where I am. And it just, I'm really feeling that pulling, like, out of my little winter cocoon nest, and I'm excited. And we did all this work this month about how can we how can we nourish our growth and our transformation, and accomplish the things that we seeded at the very beginning of the winter to let sort of, build that energy. And while all of that feels really wonderful, there's also this wanting to stay connected with the stillness that you may have experienced during the winter, or maybe you've never experienced stillness and you're like, what? I don't even know how to make my crazy busy life, even have a moment of stillness. So what can we do in times when life is just hectic, whether we want it to be or not, or in times when we're excited about growth and things that we're doing, and we want to start, going out, we want to start making things happen, and we want to make sure that we really honor that stillness, and take a moment. And I think, and the thing that I sent you, I said something about like maintaining. And I was thinking about that word, and it is almost like maintenance. Like, what do I do for myself each day? Or how do I connect some way to really honor that stillness and maintain that? Yeah. Yeah.
Great. So knowing that this was one of the potential things, my son and I were talking last night about how our schedules, both of us individually and with all the things that we are doing here on the land that we have been gifted to be the stewards of. And we are all stewards of the lands that we are on, this planet Earth that we are on. And our plates stay so full, and it's got to get this and this and this and this and this and this done. And you can't see my hands as I'm going out. They're going like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a friend of his asked, it's like, well, is this the way you always are? Because I've only known you for, the past less than a year. So is this the kind of schedule that you always keep? And that prompted a conversation between he and I. And, I reflected back that I can recall many, many times that I have made the statement that my plate stays so full, and very often overfull. And with that, okay, so we add transformation and growth, and the season changes and new things are happening. It's like, so how do I maintain stillness? how do I stay connected with my center? And what comes up for me in this moment is, number one, there's really not a lot that I can add to my plate. There's, Great Spirit gave us 24 hours in a day. And sometimes I think I could use 30, but somebody had greater wisdom than me and only gave us 24 hours. And so to add something else, what can I take off of my plate? Because I can't add more to it. And so I have to use discernment to say, what are my priorities?
Yeah.
Priorities for my personal life, priorities for my, my value system, my family, my friends, So there's that tier layer in many ways. And some of it's like, well, that just has to go to the top because of X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the things that for me comes up. It's like, so what can I take off the plate as opposed to just keep adding more on and feeling like I'm sinking underwater, going that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing that comes up for me is, in that, what can I do to feed my soul?
Yeah.
And that's something in this last week, I actually just did some fun painting for me. And I can't remember, well, it was last summer that I can think of that I actually painted some paintings just for me. And that was when I was on retreat, kind of like a artist in residence for a week in Sonoma. And I painted because there was nothing that was calling me. And I was there.
Yeah.
And it was heaven.
Yeah.
So this past week, that's what I've had 3 or 4 sessions now in this past week, just working on some pleasure paintings, something that was feeding my soul for joy.
That's wonderful.
So that's kind of a long response, but that's what
Yeah.
comes to me about those two.
Yeah. And I really hear you on the idea of not adding more, because like there's a piece of me that when I think about like, oh, I got to find stillness. Okay, what book do I need to read? What new practice do I need to start doing? Like okay, I'm going to have to start taking walks more because like, I know I mean, my mind definitely goes there. And it didn't when I was, when I was thinking about this morning, when I said that, but it often does. And I think a lot of us, it often does. Like, well, I need more of something amazing, and when you were saying that, reminded me, I was looking at, somehow I came across, I don't know, when a newsletter someone sent me or something, but it was a book about a creative practice. But there was this image that the artist had drawn in the book of a pencil. And it was like pointing to like the tip of the pencil. And it was, I can't remember the language she used, but it was something, like adding and then the eraser, take away, that our pencil has both ends to it,
Mm-hmm.
And it was about like more about drawing and stuff and not like overdoing it. But I really think of that, like when you were saying, like, what can I take away,
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can take away enough that you can add that extra walk or that extra meditation practice or whatever it is. But it has to happen, with care of not like overloading or not going, oh, wait, I think I got another, arm here. I can like hold on to something else.
Yeah.
Because what happens to me too is that then I feel like I'm neglecting everything. And then I just feel guilty and I feel like I'm not doing it right. And the whole purpose of what it is that I'm trying to bring in, it defeats that.
Yeah.
And I had like one thing that struck me about this idea when I heard it. So I start my morning with like different circles that I'm a part of and listening to things. And so usually there'll be something that'll come through, especially on Mondays, that I'm like, yeah, like that threads in with what we've been talking about. And I can see how something that I'm thinking about is connecting. And, but when it was talking about stillness today, and she read the circle I was in, the leader, the guide, read this beautiful reading by Pixie Lighthorse that's in a book that you and I often use in our class. And in fact, I'm going to read it as soon as I get off this call, because I'm just thinking about it. But is that I had a moment this weekend, because I've just had a lot going on, and I feel like when I'm out with people or I'm out in the world, like I'm always kind of like comparing myself and, oh, I should be doing more of that or more of this and that. And it was like, I found this moment of just like appreciating everybody. And I think part of it has a lot to do with like thinking about what's going on in the world and like having the luxury to like be at a farmer's market with my kids and my brother and like looking at all these people just having a beautiful day. And instead of feeling like overwhelmed by that or feeling like, oh, it looks like they're being better parents than I am, or, oh, look, they've got this thing or whatever it is, I just felt like surrounded by like beauty, like all of just this beauty. And in that felt still, like there's all this stuff and we're doing them and we're moving, but like, it was almost like I found that like center, that like just witnessing and just experiencing and being a part of it, but not as like chasing after something, just being, just like existing. And like, I was trying to think of a point on my body that I could touch, like for me, I mean, it just feels like right here, like not even necessarily where my heart is, but just to kind of tap, just to remind myself, like if I feel myself moving into that place that doesn't feel still, just to bring it back. So, yeah.
Well, what comes up for me as you're talking is this concept that what you tapped into was the enoughness. And so often we fall into the I'm not enough, and so I have to do more. I have to read another book. I have to do more because I'm not enough. And the truth is, how much can we just let drop away?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are already enough.
Yeah.
And so I love that, okay, where can I tap to remind me that I am enough?
Yeah.
I am enough. I am more than enough.
Yeah.
And, we don't have to add more.
Yeah.
Be as much as we already are. And my goodness, can we even keep up with that?
Right.
Because we are so much. And that beauty that you noticed this weekend, surrounded by, filled with the beauty and the joy of, wow, you could walk around the farmer's market. A lot of people can't do that.
Right. Yeah. 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 And I thought today too about the journey that I'm on, and I want to be careful about saying this because I don't want to take away from like what you just said, which is so profound about like the enoughness, and like if this is my, it is enough. And we all have these journeys that we're on, and it is the journey, and it's not that there's a finish line or a goal. I mean, there's goals, but you know what I mean? Like there's not an end, but I am moving in a direction. And when I thought about growth and transformation, like there are things that come up that I want to see happen in my life, and not that, like I'm done a lot of work about thinking that it's not that I'm not going to be complete, or I'm not good, or I'm not whatever until I do this thing. It's just that I want to make this thing happen. That seems like something that would bring myself joy and my family joy, or whatever it is. And so when we can allow ourselves to have that, like that rest or that place, even if it's just for like a moment during our day, while we're like making other things happen, it serves that journey. It serves that growth, Yeah.
Well, I, by all means, do not mean that we should just sit.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. I know you don't.
So that does have its value too.
Yes.
And, but for me, I'm not quite ready to go sit in the cave and, live that way 24 hours a
Yeah.
day. Um, I enjoy my life and I enjoy the fullness of it. And it's when I allow too many things to get added on
Mm-hmm.
that it truly does take me out of my center.
Yeah.
And so if I can remember that I don't need more, I can still add something, but something else has to let go
Mm-hmm.
because I can't
Yeah.
have 25 and 26 hours in the week. And I do need the things that, need to be done. I need
Yeah.
to sleep. I need to have good, unrushed meals.
Yeah.
I need family time. I need my personal time.
Yeah.
And, no, and one of the other things that I did this weekend, I don't know if I told you about this, I did a tree grafting workshop.
I didn't hear much about it, but you
I said I was
yeah, that's what I've done with this tree crafting. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and it's something that I've always, or for a long time, I've thought about, and it was just such a delight to take a day, and it was an hour drive to place I've never been. It's like, whoa, where is this place? Where am I going? And you know, I grafted 5 trees,
That's
all different
amazing.
kinds of apples. And it was so much fun and inspiring, and just being surrounded by people that were really clear that we are stewards of the land
Mm,
and we need to be good stewards. And it's not this piece of property and this piece of property, it's this world that we live in.
yeah.
And so I'm excited. I want to do some more trees and
Yeah.
different kinds, and it was fun.
Yeah.
It was something that just taking time for me,
Right.
and that doesn't happen too often these days. But I kind of like it, and I think I'm going to do a little more of it.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, and all of these things offer opportunities to find that stillness, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I know we're getting close to time, but I've been on my spring break, and from my school, as you know, I get 2 weeks. So 2 weeks of not going to work and being with my students. And I mean, it felt even longer. I don't know why, just like the way and it was wonderful. And so today I felt a little like, getting up super early and all the things. But I just kept taking this idea. First of all, the idea that I experienced at the farmer's market, like just all the beings that I'm going to get to have in my, around me today, just being, I was imagining, like, there was a couple things, like imagining like this, there was these flowers at this farmer's market, and I was imagining the garden that they all grew in, and that, like, that's as beautiful as like these little humans that I get to be in front of. And sometimes it's kind of hard, like when you have a job and you're classroom management, anyway, especially after a break. And then I was also imagining at the farmer's market, everyone had their dogs there, and that there's some dogs where you just are like, oh my gosh, I wish I could spend more time with this dog. And some dogs you're like, that dog's so cute, but I'm glad I don't have to take him home, but you can still appreciate it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, sometimes I have a hard time with human beings. There's sometimes it's like an energy. It's hard for me to find stillness when I'm around a lot of human beings. And so finding that way of like feeling that stillness and still connecting, and you know that I do like a mindfulness practice with my students before each class. And today they're like, are we still going to do mindfulness? Some of them like don't really like it. And I'm like, oh yeah, because that's also this moment where like we close our eyes, we do this thing for 3 minutes. And then when I open them, like there they are, just like these little beings of light, for even if it's just for that moment. And it helps to find that place of, I think I wouldn't have called it stillness before this conversation, but I think that that's definitely,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's finding stillness in the in the chaos.
Yeah.
Stop and take one breath.
Yeah. And it was a great day, and it was so good to see them, and so it was
Wonderful.
good. Yeah. All right. Well, we're at the end of our 20 minutes, and I do want to share that for those of you watching, first of all, thank you so much for hanging around with us until the end of our conversation here. And we are going to be starting a new series of Discovery Deck workshops in April. And so it'll be the first Thursday in April, and we'll put information below this video for you. But we had such a great time last time, and I've actually got mine on my altar back here, but we're just making little cards, and we're working on them, and the muse is still working out the details of the theme, but we'll share that as well soon. And we'd love for you to join us, and we love that you are joining us here as well.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, peace and blessings to all. Thank you again, Kelly. It's always good to see you. And much love to you, and much love to all of you watching. Peace and blessings.
Yes. Mwah.